Hi, I'm Nia. I was born in a small town in South Africa where money was always tight. My parents worked tirelessly, my dad was a mechanic, and my mom worked in retail. I dreamed of getting an education that could change our lives, but the opportunities weren't just there. So I decided to take a different path, self-taught, seeking out mentors, and step by step, I discovered the world of trading. Today, I'll show you how I built my system, the strategy that helps me stay calm and focused, even when the market is in chaos. This video isn't just about numbers, it's about the mindset and structure that drive results. So watch till the end and let's get started. Today, we are going to analyze the charts with you again on the platform. Let's first of all customize our workspace to make us as comfortable as possible. Let's make a time frame of 5 seconds. Next, I add the MACD indicator, whose settings I set by default, and click Save. Then I go to the right side of the screen where I put the expiration time. I set it to 15 seconds. Everything is ready for convenient and high quality work. Here we see a reversal movement on the indicator and on the chart. I open a position down and wait for the expiration time. Great! I will now explain this situation. We see an upward movement which was accompanied by a negative crossing of the instrument, after which a downward movement should follow. There is a downward slope, a red histogram, and so the upward movement of the line. The situation is quite understandable. You know, it's really not as complicated as it seems, especially when you have a reliable guide. I started with a simple setup, clear entry, rules, and fixed targets. Here's what came out of that. The system helps filter out the noise and shows you exactly where the entry point is. When I shared this in the community, beginners picked it up and instantly, because you don't need deep technical analysis. It's already laid out and easy to follow. I'm moving on. We see a situation similar to the previous one. Because of this, I'll repeat the same position on the downside and wait for the expiration time. While I'm waiting for the expiration time, I want to ask you, what tools and assistants do you use? What are the ones that help you the most? Please write in the comments. I'll be very interested in reading, and maybe any of the time I'll use them in the next video. Great! The exact same movement occurred here as on the previous occasion. There was an upward movement, after which the instrument indicated a reversal, and this reversal successfully took place in reversal in several waves. We caught a corrective move, and that's good enough for us. We see a downward movement, but there are urges to grow. Because of this, I will open a position up and wait for the expiry time. It's a tricky situation, but I hope it succeeds. Alright folks, why am I saying that this was a risky situation? Because there is a global downward movement going on here. In this case, the two is pointing downward, but here is a very important point. At this point, the green line has begun to cross the red line from the bottom to the top, and this indicates potential growth. Because of this, I opened a position on the upside. But why was this a risky situation? Because in this situation, the traffic was just sideways and it's not easy to get burned on it. You have to be careful and analyze such moments carefully. While we're going through this setup, I remembered how it all started for me. There was barely any free info out there. Everything felt confusing and overly complicated. That's why over time, I built my process around logic, real data, and a clear system, the exact things that helped me when I was starting. There's no room here for emotional or impulsive decisions. I clearly remember the moment it all started to make sense. And I want more people to experience that clarity. That's why I run live sessions daily showing how I find those exact entry points. And others test them, learn, and gain confidence day by day. Moving on, at the beginning of the upward movement, I open a position up for the continuation of the upward movement and wait for the expiry time. What we see is that the chart is volatile, but that doesn't bother us. Our prediction has succeeded and we are ready to move on. We see the beginning of an upward movement on the indicator, which is accompanied by the price chart. According to this trend, I opened a position on the upside and successfully fixed it. Great result. When I was first building my system, everything felt scattered. Every day a new idea, some tip from the internet, tons of emotion, and zero clarity. I kept asking myself, where is the logic? Where is the structure? I realized I needed a solid approach, fixed rules, clear criteria, specific actions. That's how my first working strategies were born. I believe that when you have a system, you just don't look at a chart, you actually see it. I'm moving on here. I see a global downtrend that is accompanied by instrument movement. Because of this, I open a position down for the continuation of the downward movement, and I'm waiting to see what happens. Whoa, great position, folks. We saw a strong downward movement, which may even continue, but we don't care about that anymore. We caught the downward movement that the indicator was also talking about. No buyer power was detected here. Because of that, the position was opened on the downside. And we can see further movement, which I also mentioned. So what do you think of the strategy, friends? Sometimes I think that there just aren't enough of these kinds of approaches available publicly. That's why I'm doing this, to bring everyone into one place so anyone can not only observe but get involved. If what I shared resonates with you, check out my channel or just message me. I try to reply to everyone.